I can remember one time I interviewed for a job and it was just so grim. There was no joy in that room, and I just thought, Sebastian, you can work somewhere else. So a while back we put up this video on TikTok about job interview red flags, and you guys had a lot of comments. So in this video we're going to look at those comments, look at some of the questions you guys had, and I'm going to weigh in. So our first question comes from Heart K-pop Media Heart. Everything about a company I found on the internet is only on surface level. How should I answer a very specific question about the company though? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so when you're looking at a company before your job interview, you really want to answer three things. What is the company's niche? You know, what markets are they selling in? What geographical regions? Who are their competitors? Who are the main players in their game? What are their current projects or products, or even recent news that's come out about the company? And what is the company's personality like? You know, are they a very laid back, young, dynamic kind of work culture? Are they a traditional, very formal institution? Try and identify those based on the About Us page, the social media, all of the above. Okay, so our next question is from Morty Flakes, and they ask, how would I be able to research about the company if they don't have a website? Good question. Okay, so I would say that maybe 6 or 7 times out of 10, not having a website is a red flag. Like, the less presence an employer has online, the more I would raise my eyebrows. And at this point, I'm kind of like this. E-commerce companies, for example, might have brand websites, but they might not have like a website for their main company. Look at the job description, look at the brands, look for the other names that they are using in their job description, and check if there are any websites for those. So Jennifer Renee asks, why do you consider rehearsed answers better than honest answers? Okay, I see where you're coming from here. When I say rehearsed, I don't mean scripted. I don't mean word for word, Shakespeare, here's my monologue. What I mean is thinking about what you want to say before you say it. Now, the reason I say this is you can answer any interview question on the spot. Like almost all of them, there is a way to talk your way towards the end without any preparation. The problem is when you do this, it's really obvious to the interviewer. When we aren't prepared, we ramble. We talk for a really, really long time, and we might not get to the heart of the issue. And also, if you are applying for a job that is project focused, that is very skills focused, then the interviewer is going to want you to demonstrate how you can connect those skills to the job in basically every answer that you're giving. If you're failing to do that, then you're just giving them a lot of empty words. So a rehearsed answer basically shows that you have considered how your skills or how your experience connects to the job, and you have demonstrated that in your answer. Vicky says, I really don't want to rehearse that much for an interview. A little bit should be enough. I can't rehearse 100 questions. I really feel you there, Vicky. I would say that when you're preparing for any job interview, you really want to have some kind of answer prepared for 4 questions. Tell me about yourself, famously not actually a question. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Why do you want to work for us? And do you have any questions for me? These are essential because firstly, they give the employer a little bit of flavor behind your CV. And in the case of the last one, Ask Me Any Questions, they give you a chance to find out more about the job before you commit to a place that you might be working for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, next question. What if the candidate is clearly anxious and shows they really want the job? Does it come across badly if someone looks too eager? Okay, some people might disagree with me on this, but I don't think personality is always the most important thing. If I see somebody looks nervous, or if I see that somebody is really enthusiastic, that's not necessarily going to turn me off hiring them for the position. What matters most to me is whether you seem like you have the right attitude, you have the right skills and the right experience. Like if you have those qualities, then everything else is, fine hairs that might push you ahead or behind another candidate. Next question, what's the red flag of a company during an interview? I would say anything that indicates a lack of professionalism. So the the interviewer is late, they keep rescheduling, or there's a lot of inconsistent information between the job description and what's being said in the job interview. This is especially if you're in your second or your third interview and you're actually speaking to your own managers-to-be. Like, they should be giving you information that's consistent with the information you saw when you applied for the job. Also, just vibe check. I can remember one time I interviewed for a job and it was just the wallpaper. The wallpaper was this horrible shade of just gray, green that looked like it came out of like 2003, and the lights were flickering over. You know, when those horrible fluorescent hospital lights? And it was just so grim. There was no joy in that room, and I just thought, Sebastian, you can work somewhere else. So if you get a bad energy vibe, like, that also counts as a red flag. Take note. It's not just what the employer says. And that's all we've got for now. If you have any more questions about job interviews, company research, salary negotiations, drop me a comment down below and I'll get back to them in a future video. All right, best of luck with your job search, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.